whole lesson. So like if anyone was absent, they could go on YouTube and actually like watch it. It's like a screen. It's like a screen recording. What? Oh, so we'll see if it works. I've never done it before. Okay, so no one wants to move. You want to just sit where you want. You guys can move. Obviously, just don't disrupt the whole class. You have options. And this is a learning process. So if you want to move to a different seat that no one's in, that's fine. The stools are free. You can sit if you want to pull any of the mats, as long as it's not crazy disruptive, because we're going to start a lesson. Okay? Okay, so here we go. While you're moving, if you choose to move, let's start. You can leave your stuff wherever you want. Okay, so I know that this will tend to be a little bit more chaotic, but that was pretty good. For those of you that wanted to move, you just kind of got it. I'm totally okay with that. If you want to leave your bags, like you can leave them where you were, whatever you choose. Okay, so here's the scenario. We're going to need some whiteboards. So guys that are sitting on the stools, do me a favor, just grab a whiteboard, Miguel, out of the bottom. And we'll get some dry erase markers there. Here's our scenario. Micah and 3 friends. Imagine you're going to the movies. Micah and 3 friends are going to go to the movies. They are going to buy a total of 4 bags of pretzels and 4 drinks at the snack stand. So a bag of pretzels is going to cost X. We don't know what it is yet. We're going to figure it out. And then a drink is going to cost Y. Why do you think we have to show X as the pretzels and Y as the drink? Why do those variables have to be different?
Because then it's confusing when you try to figure out which one is different.
Good. The value of them is different. If I knew that pretzels and drinks were the same price, I could have used the same variable. But here they're different prices. So we're going to write an expression that could represent this. But we're going to start a little bit more basic. At your group or wherever you are, draw a picture, even just like squares and circles. It doesn't have to be like a really dumb picture. Show on your whiteboard what this would look like as a picture. It doesn't have to be X's and Y's. But what would it look like if we bought 4, and again, it's Micah and his 3 friends. If we bought 4 drinks and 4 bags of pretzels, how much are they buying in total? Represent that however you can. If you want to do variables, you can. If you want to just do squares and circles, you can. If you want to draw a picture of a drink and a bag of pretzels or a pretzel swirl, whatever that means to you, show me what it means to buy 4 bags of pretzels and 4 drinks. Don't overthink it. There's no right or wrong answer. If anyone does choose to sit on the floor, the mats are next to Miguel. You can just take them and lay them out. No one's that daring yet? That's okay. Some people like to. That's fine. So just, actually, let me just really quick, as you guys are drawing. That's like a blanket. These are Pilates mats. They have a little cushion. These are memory foam mats, so they're like really soft. And then this one, don't use this one. It's actually bad. I want to bring it home. And this is like a big blanket, so we only want to take that out if you're working like in a group. Whichever one you want. Yeah, whichever one you want. As you have something, hold it up and let's see. So remember, we're talking about the total. So if you're going to use a mathematical symbol, think about what you would do to show a total. What symbol would you use to show the total? We're talking about it. That's the only thing mathy that we want. And what would you have to do with those to show the total? Show me what you got. What would you have to do to show the total of those? What symbol would you need in between them? If I said, what's the total we paid? lot of you have the symbols out. Perfect. Leslie, those are good. What would you do to show the total? What mathematical symbol would you need for total? Think about what symbol. I have to clean that, I'm sorry. That's from last year. I don't know how I missed it. Is there only one way to represent this scenario? Do we think there's only one way that we can show this? What do we think? More than one or only one? More than one. There is. So we're going to start to go over the options. Okay, you may have another one. And if you do, I'm all ears. So let's start here. One scenario. Let's say I'm going to go to the movies. And I'm going to bring 3 of you. Any 3 of you. Doesn't matter who. It's me and 3 of you. And let's say I am such a generous person, but we're still all friends. So each of us is going to buy our own drink and bag of pretzels. Okay. So what would this look like? If I had, if this was me, with my hair, okay, and then you guys. Second, I just never want to see. What would this look like if each of us bought our own pretzel and drink? What would I buy?
Pretzel and drink.
Okay, so let's do like pretzel and a drink. Okay. And then, what are you gonna buy? Pretzel. That's a really weird pretzel. And a drink. And then this person would be another. I really had the first pretzel, like good. And a drink. And then a pretzel. There we go. And a drink. So now, does that make sense? Would I still get the total cost of 4 pretzels and 4 drinks if I did that? Yeah. Could I represent that with a variable? If we, in the beginning of the problem, pretzels were going to be represented, right, by X. And that's a terrible pretzel. So I hope you're really following with the pretzels you're and drinks are Y. How can I write that picture using algebra, using the variables? What would it look like? Now we're just going to kind of replace the picture with the letters or the variables. What would that scenario look like if each friend bought their own pretzel and their own drink? What would this look like? What would this be? What? Using the variable. X plus Y plus X plus Y plus X plus Y plus X plus Y. Will that give me the total of 4 drinks and 4 pretzels? Yes, raise your hand if you did that. Good, a few of you did. Awesome. It's going to be cool to see like which of you did that and which of you did the other option. Okay, so that's one option. Let's say I go to the movies, and Brian and I go to the movies, and we're going to bring Leslie, and we're going to bring Braulio. And I say, you know what, I'm feeling really generous, and so is Brian, so I'm going to buy all of the drinks, and Brian's going to buy all of the pretzels. So let's quickly draw me. And then Brian. And his clothes. He's got the nice lift. Okay? And then Leslie. Sorry, I put a line in his face. And Brian. Okay. So we say, I'm going to buy all the drinks, and Brian's going to buy all the pretzels. What's this going to look like? So I'm going to buy all the drinks, and Brian's going to buy all the pretzels. Again, I'm clearly not an artist. And then Leslie and Raleigh aren't going to buy anything, because we treat it. What does this look like in terms of variables? What did Brian buy?
All the pretzels.
How many?
4. 4.
So how can I represent 4 bags of pretzels? And what did I buy?
All the drinks.
All the drinks. How can I represent the drinks?
4y.
4y. Will I, if I add up everything, still get the total of everything? Yes. Now let's say we go to the movies, and it's just still the 4 of us. It's me, Brian, Leslie, Brian. And I say, you know what? I'm going to buy everything because I'm such a generous person. I'm going to buy everything at the movie theater. Okay? So if this is me, I'm just for sake of time. Okay. What did I buy? I bought everything. Okay? So how can I show this?
4 pretzels and 4 drinks.
4.
That's one.
Did anybody do that? This is typically our minds don't go here to parentheses, but in terms of grouping, imagine that it's a combo, right? And the combination is a bag of pretzels and a drink. Or at our movie theaters, it tends to be like a drink and a popcorn, right? So I bought that combo, but I bought 4 of them. Okay, so that's how you would represent this scenario. How many of you did this? I think I saw a lot of you did the second option, 4x plus 4y. I think Marco, I saw you did it. I think you did it. All right, a lot of us went here. Not many of us go here, which is fine. Okay. So let's start to talk about options. Did anybody come up with anything else? Those tend to be like the 3 main ways to group. So going back, in these 2 scenarios, how are these related? Are they the same?
Yeah.
How do you know?
It's just
It's not a trick question. It is the same. How do we know that those 2 are the same? They both would give me 4x and 4y, so if I put in the price, I would still get the same. And what did I do to go from this to that? How did I get here? There's a property, but before we talk about mathematical stuff, what did I do to go from this to that? And let's imagine these parentheses aren't here, because they throw us off sometimes. What operation did I do to go from this one down to that, the middle one?
You simplified.
I simplified. What does that mean?
Made it small.
I made it smaller. Okay. Okay. What did I do to simplify that? There's a saying. Whose head's on the desk? Head up. There's a saying that you heard about last year when you would simplify. Right, how did I go from x plus x plus x plus x to 4x? Yandel, lift your head up. Off the desk. What did I do to go from x plus x plus x plus x to 4x? I added them all together. Right? And then from y plus y plus y plus y to 4y, I added them all together. Right? This is combining like terms. I know you probably heard that last year. It's been a little while. Okay. Does anyone remember the property? I know this might be very mathy. That tells me it doesn't matter the order that I add things together. They'll still give me the same value. Starts with a C. Properties. Anyone remember? We don't talk about properties a lot, but it tells me if I add things together. Commutative property, perfect. The commutative property tells me I can add things together anyway. 10 plus 5 is the same as 5 plus 10. X plus x plus x plus x is the same as 4x. Okay. Very good. So now let's compare these 2. What did I do to go from this to this? It's actually easier for you to visualize going from this to that. What did I do to go from the bottom to the middle one? You remember it because you did a lot with parentheses last year, and there's an operation that you did. What operation is that we would do to go from that parentheses to no parentheses? It's still a form of simplifying. Who remembers what it's called? Or who remembers what did we do? Did we add? Did we subtract? Did we multiply? Did we divide? Yeah, we multiplied. Does anyone remember what this is called when we multiplied this and then we multiplied that? It's a property again, but you talked about this, you did this one a lot more because when you simplify, you tend to get rid of parentheses. We don't ever want parentheses. What do I do, or what do I call that? I distribute. I can actually multiply 4 times x, which is 4x, and then 4 times y, which is 4y. Are those the same?
Yes.
Yes. Are all 3 of them the same?
Yes.
How do I know? I'm going to go back to what you said before. How do I know that all 3 are the same?
Because they follow like the same.
What would they all give me? They would all give me the same answer. If I plugged in a value for x and a value for y, I'd get the same answer. Very good. Okay, we already talked about that, so let's move on. So just to summarize what we just looked at, and I know we talked about some mathy things, but we started with a basic picture. Expressions that have the same value are equivalent. Equivalent actually is Latin. The word equa, EQ, for those of you who like language arts, means equal. And the word valent means value. So in Latin, equivalent actually breaks down to equal value. It's like a perfect translation. So those are equivalent. And the best way to prove that things are equivalent is if we ever substitute in a value, you get the same answer. So when we simplify stuff, we actually want to make it as easy as possible. So very quickly, I want you to try to come up with as many ways to write that as you can. So here's the scenario. This is going to be the last thing we draw. We're going to do our DOL quick, and then we're going to break off and start to go over some other stuff. This is a square. The length of one side is c minus 3. We want to represent the perimeter. How can I represent, what is perimeter? Who remembers that word? What does it mean to find the perimeter?
The area around shape.
It's around, but don't use the word area because that gets a little tough. What is it around? What do I have to do to the around?
Length times.
Imagine my backyard. Okay, my perimeter is the fence. The area is my grass. Okay, so if you're talking about the perimeter, what do I do to find the perimeter? I add what?
The sun.
I'm going to add all 4 sides. Good, that's my perimeter. How can you represent the perimeter in as many ways as possible? Think about the scenario that we just did. How many ways can you do it? We're going to take like 3 minutes. You don't have to work alone. You can use the people. You can draw it on your board. Okay? How many ways can you show that perimeter? Okay. Yep, you can start. Try to do at least 2. This is just for our DOL. There's 2. There's 2. This is for our DOL. If you can only think of one, try to collaborate with the people around you, or at least see what they did. Don't forget the symbols. Because the side length, it's not C3. It's C minus 3. That's correct. What would make that, so right now, here's the issue. This is right, but think about what you want to do. Order of operations, remember that? What was the first thing that you did here? So what do I want to do so that the perfect. They're both right.
Hello. How are you?
Good. Let me see you really now. How are you?
Good.
Do you have any extra math textbooks you can?
Like 8th grade. Purple?
It's for an intervention. Can we keep in here for here?
How many do you need?
Just one.
Just one. Okay, so take
They're all
A
the same?
and then no, A is like what we typically do the first half of the year. Yeah, we really don't use it. So if you need resources, I have online stuff. I really
Oh, yeah.
No, you probably are. But it's not as interactive as if they watch a video.
I'll let you know if I need that. Because, yeah, I don't really like book work.
Yeah, they don't, it's not gonna work. They need something different.
Yeah.
That's why like they did well with iWriting.
They did.
Yeah, and the thing is iWrite's at their level.
And at their level.
I
And
have
they're
to do their
all,
logins.
they're all on.
Yep.
Alright, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alright, let's see what we got. Hold up what you got. Who feels like they have at least one good one? That's a good picture. How would you combine them? Think about that math word. What would you do to put them all together? Oh, wait, did we do a picture? You get, some of you chose to do a picture, some of you didn't. What do we have? Good. Keep going with another one. Alright, so some of you, and let's go over what we got. Guys, what do you got? So some of you did this. Correct? Is that actually one side plus the other side plus the other side plus the other side? Yes. That is incorrect for those of you that did that. Some of you, and Lewis, you did this. You were the first one I saw that did this. Then I think Leslie, you did this too. Tiana, I saw you do that. So really what this says is I have a side length of this, but I have 4 of them. So instead of adding 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, you could just multiply by 4. Now, some of you did that. Good? Good?
Yeah.
Yeah? We're good? Is that, anyone want to fight me on that? Here.
The parentheses, or you're supposed to multiply the 4 by the outcome.
So for those of you that did this, and I saw a few of you did that, you're correct with the -12 because you have the -3 and -3 and -3 and -3. What did you miss? How many C's are there? There's 4. Okay. If you had C minus 12 and you didn't have the 4 and you actually tried to calculate, you would, these are not equal. These two, you're good, there's an error. Because if I multiply 4 times C and 4 times -3, that would be a 4. Any other ways? Good. Do they all have the same value? Yes. Which one is the most simplified? The first one, the second one, or the third one? First, second, or third? Which one's the most simplified? Hold up your hand. Most simplified. 1, 2, or 3? What do you think? Okay. There's no right or wrong answer here. Good. Which one's the most simplified? If I said simplify it, which one would you end up with? What do you think? For those of you who haven't held up a hand, give me something. The most simplified here is actually the third one. When we simplify, our first goal is to combine all our like terms. So all of these C's would be added together, and all of the -3's would be added together. The problem with 2, and some of you said 2, you're not far off. If we simplify, you want no parentheses. You don't want the parentheses. You would end up with 4C minus 12. Okay. Good. Now, on your desk, you have a DOL sheet. We will do a DOL every day, and that's, again, it's not weighted on your grade. It's just so I can see what you've picked up from class today, okay? These will go in the grade book. They're not weighted because our grades are made up of our tests and our quizzes, but these are all going to kind of help towards that. After we do the DOL, we're going to start to go into the rest of the class where you choose what you do, but we'll kind of slowly enter into that. So here's your DOL. On that sheet of paper, you can put it in the slot for Monday. I'll mark it and give it back tomorrow so that every day during the week you just throw out the one sheet. It tends to be a lot less paper. Okay. So the perimeter of a square, and I'll draw a picture for those of you that need to see it. The perimeter, the total is 12x plus 20. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Write two different ways to represent this number. Right, so that's like the end result. What did I actually put together? How could I like break that out to show me the perimeter? Now I put try factoring. You don't have to if you feel comfortable having like a number outside the parentheses. You can do that. You don't have to. But what I want you to do is show me this expression two different ways. Don't overcomplicate it with the perimeter thing. Show me that expression two different ways. If I add it up, this side and this side and this side and this side, I got that. How else could I show that? Just that number, that expression. Try 2. How else could you show that number? When you finish, you're going to put that sheet into this bin. I still have to put a sign on it, so that's my fault. And I'm actually going to move this. I don't like it. In this bin. Woo. That's our DOL bin, right there. Okay. And then we'll go back to our seats so that I can start handing some stuff out. Remember, it does not matter if you don't get it right or wrong. We don't want to like copy off of anyone. This is really for the teachers, so we can see who's understanding equivalent expressions and who might need a little bit more time. So when you're done, they can go right in the bin on the heater. So we're rewriting that 12x plus 20. How can we rewrite that? Oh, Tuesday. I'm sorry. Today's not Monday. It doesn't matter. I'll know. The DOL bin's on the heater. You could all go put it in. I'm not going to collect them. You go put it in. So show me the operations to still get the perimeter. Like you found the side length, which is where you would have to go to kind of, well, one way you could do it. Show me how you would, like, give me the expression. So if I add up all those 20s, is that going to give me 12x plus 20? Think about the square. If your total is 12x and negative 20, how many x's are going to be on each side? How many are on each side? Good, okay. You're getting a better idea now. And how many, if the total is -20, how many on each side? What kind of five? What will give you -20? Good, okay, so how can I say, now you know what's on each side. How can I show that? So the perimeter is like this, plus this, plus this, plus this. So you like show that. Understand that? Okay, let's start to make our way to the DOL bin. If you're not done, continue. We can put whiteboards back, erase them, put them on the shelf. And now we're going to start to shift into the rest of class. You can stay there, you don't have to go back. Yes. So, while you're finishing your DOL, make sure your names are on them so that we can see where everyone's at. The whiteboards can go on the shelf, the markers can go into the tops. Now we're going to start to work with our actual rest of class. Now, normally I don't foresee us actually talking for this long. I'd like to shorten that a little bit. It gets to be a little bit faster when people kind of chime in and we move on well. I have Sharpies. We're going to do a few things right now. The next thing that we would do normally after our DOL is we would get into our practice, however you choose to practice. So we have options. First thing I'm going to hand out. This is going to go into your binder. Okay. This is your menu for the entire unit. Okay. So this sheet has every assignment for the entire unit. Now, just to put it into perspective, our unit is going to end like the second week of October. So this is every single assignment that you could do from now until the middle of October. Okay. You don't have to do them all today. That's crazy. And I can kind of give you some insight into which ones you would want to do for today. On the back, these are the learning targets for the unit. These are the things you're going to be able to do by the end of the unit. You are only going to be doing number 1, 2, and 3. Okay. The numbers 4 through 8, those are additional for the honors groups because they have to learn Algebra 1. So these are high school standards. Okay, if you feel like you want to do that and like I can handle this, I want to do a little bit more, I have ways for you to do that within this class if you choose. Last year, just to give you an idea, last year I taught them, because the way it works, I teach the 2 honors math and then the 1 non-honors math. The honors math is Algebra 1. Your curriculum is 8th grade math. There is a difference. Last year, to not go crazy, I taught the non-honors math the same stuff that I taught the honors kids because I figured, hey, like, you're here, you're willing to learn. My non-honors class from last year outperformed the rest of the school on the park by 20 points. So I thought, hey, kind of proud of that. And it's really because we just kind of kept pushing. If you can't handle that, you won't. But if you can handle, like, hey, I think I could do a little bit more, there's ways for you to do some of these, and the assignments are built in here too. So we can go over how you can learn it at a different way. There's some of you who may want to try, like, and for some, it may be a good thing to see what you're going to learn next year before you go into high school. Because you'll go into Algebra 1 next year. So everything I'm teaching in honors kids, you're going to learn next year. You might already know it by the time you get it. Okay, so this is the first thing. This stays in your folder. This cannot be lost. This is how we're going to track everything that you do. You're going to be able to say, like, hey, checked off this, checked off this, checked off. I did 3 assignments this week. Here's my stuff. Okay? So this is the first thing you're going to keep in. We normally won't have a lot to hand out, so I'm sorry. There's 4 for you guys. 2, 3, 4. You can put your name on this. You can take a look at it. I'm sorry? Yeah, absolutely. If you need to hole punch, there's a 3-hole punch on my desk. This will stay in your folder if you have a binder. You know, that's up to you. Okay, so that's the first thing. So at this point of a class, and it's probably going to be like 10 minutes earlier normally, and I'll say, okay, now's the time for you to break off and go work on whatever it is you need to work on. This is what you'll refer to. If you ever are at home and don't have this document, it is online. If you go to my website, which is www.mathwithmrsc.com, there is a link there with all these documents electronically, so you can see anything at home. Okay? So that's where we'll go from here. Now, in terms of assignment, you have the choice to do whatever you want. The first 3 on the 500-point writing expression sheet, equivalent expression stations, and writing expressions matching activity, those are really the 3 that go along with equivalent expressions. The identifying, like the first one, the writing expressions, is a worksheet. The stations are actually hanging up for those of you that want to move. And the matching activity is like a cut and paste. Okay, so you like cut them out and paste them on. I don't have glue, but I have tape. So for those of you, and I'll have glue tomorrow, I just left it at home, for those of you that want to do that. So there's an option for all different types. If you prefer like something hands-on, do that. If you prefer like, I know this, I'm just going to do it on the worksheet, like that's fine. The worksheets that we have in the room, and you'll notice in this folder, there's only 10. One of my biggest pet peeves as a teacher is printing out like 9, I just spit like really far away. One of my biggest pet peeves as a teacher is printing out like 90 copies of everything and then not using half of them. So to fix that, I only have 10. These are like master copies. If you are going to do a worksheet, please do the work on a sheet of notebook paper so that we're not wasting a ton of paper and notebook paper. Does that make sense? It's a lot of paper. It ends up being so much paper. So I'm trying to like alleviate that. Now I have a copy machine, so if we run out, we can make a copy. But like if you accidentally write on it, it's not the end of the world, but try not to. Okay. So does anyone have questions about the menu itself? So here's how it works. You will do whatever assignments you choose. You'll hand them in. If we have the option, like right now we have the laptops, but they're not supposed to be here today, so I'm pretending like they're not here. Normally we'll have like 18 to 20 laptops in here every day because this is the home base. You can do these assignments online. Like all these worksheets are actually on the computer. If you work better on a computer, you can do them on like Google Drive and just submit them to me there since you're all creating a Google email. If you prefer pen to paper, you can do them on your notebook paper. You submit however you choose, whether in the basket or on the computer. And I'll give you, I don't want to call it a grade, but we'll mark it and show you like where you're at. We're going to gauge how you do throughout. You have the choice, and I know that's sometimes a very scary thing. If you feel like you're ahead of the game and you're like, I can go on, I know this, and I want to push farther. Some of you know it, but you like the pace. You're like, I don't want to go crazy. Let me just get really comfortable and I'll move with the class. If you're a student that just wants to push ahead, then come talk to me while everyone else is working and we'll give you some other options. Okay? The last thing that I'm going to hand out today, and again, I'm not always going to hand out so much stuff. This is also going to stay in your folder. This is actually a tracking sheet for you. Every learning target for this class is on this sheet. So for this unit, there's 3. And I just need to get them. Okay. So for this class, this will stay in your folder. Anything that you do, you'll know what the learning target is. Now today, tomorrow, and Thursday and Friday, this is like prior knowledge stuff. So you're not going to see the learning targets on the materials for this week, as you can tell between the 500-point activities and all the other points. If you do a 2,000-point activity and you get it back and it says that you have a 3, you're going to mark under whatever learning target it is that you got a 3. And the reason is you're going to be able to see your own progress. Okay, this is going to be how you become a better student. It's as easy as just tracking your own stuff. We'll track it too, but for you to have an idea of where you're at, this is going to be the sheet. This will stay in your folder as well. And really, this type of paper just won't be handed out that often. I think that's for this sheet. I'm mixing mine. I'm missing. And one here. stay in your folder maybe like on the right side, and then the menu can stay on the left side. And again, that's one of those things that it's your responsibility. As we hand stuff back, we'll try to make that general, write this into your folder or into your tracking sheet so that you know. Does anyone have any questions? I know that we gave out a lot of documents, but you're really not going to get anything else in terms of documents from us in this way again. Well, until the next year. So now, at this point, we have about 18 minutes left. Normally, you'll probably have around 30 to 35 minutes left, based on how we'll do our lesson. We won't have to go through as much stuff. So this is where you have the freedom. Now, let me clarify what freedom means. In this class, you may sit where you choose. You may do whatever assignment that you choose. The expectation is that you are doing something. You don't have to fly through. I'm not necessarily expecting you to finish one activity per day. If it takes you half a class, if it takes you today to do half and tomorrow to do the other half, that's fine. We're kind of embracing the idea that you all work at different speeds. The difference is the expectation is that you're all working. For those of you that work faster, you move on. For those of you that work slower, you slow down. Not a problem. The goal is that you'll have a quiz on Thursday on equivalent expressions. So what we do today and tomorrow and Thursday, you'll have a short, like 2-question quiz. If you don't do well on it, you can take it again. But it's going to be like this, okay? Maybe with a visual, not as abstract. Okay? So it's up to you to decide what it is you do. Okay? I know that's very different. So when we say that our lesson is done and it's time for your own time, that's when you're going to choose the assignment you do. So today you have 3 options based on what we're doing in class. There's a worksheet here. If you're going to do the worksheet, it goes on a piece of notebook paper. So say Jarek and I are both going to do the worksheet. Like we could just put one in between us and like I'll do the work in my notebook, he'll do the work in his. It doesn't have to be, you can collaborate when you're doing this. The second option, this is a hands-on activity. I have tape today, I don't have glue. You actually cut and you match the equivalent expressions. Okay? And then the third activity are the stations. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 at that chalkboard, 5 on the back of my computer screen. For those of you that want to do this, but you don't want to sit. Okay, so hands-on, typical worksheet, moving around the room. 3 options. Any questions? So the thing, you have to choose one. Okay, we need to do something so that we're proving that we can, work with equivalent expressions. Questions? So right now, a few things that I also need to explain about the layout of the room. Number 1, you may drink water in this class, you may eat. If you have food, you can eat it in the class. As long as the garbage goes in the garbage can. If there's garbage left on the floor, you'll lose the privilege to eat. Okay? As we get comfortable and I see that everyone is working, you will earn the privilege to listen to music while you work. If you prove that you're working. Some of you don't learn well in silence, and some of you need background noise, and I do believe that music is a good background noise. Okay? Right now, we still have to prove that we can do the work normal, and then we'll earn that privilege. Okay? So anything that you have in terms of seating, the work, it's all a privilege that if we don't respect it, we'll lose it. Okay? But we're going to work towards the music, because I'm a big believer in listening to music when you work, but it's not really a school thing, so we have to work towards that. Okay? But in terms of food, you are allowed to, I know I forgot to say it the other day, you are allowed to eat. It's just, you guys eat lunch at such a crazy time, and then you don't eat again. It's just unhealthy. And I eat. You'll watch me eat my breakfast, because I haven't eaten it yet, and I ran 4 miles at 4 o'clock this morning, so I'm about to pass out. So
what time did we go?
I woke up at 4, and I was out of the house by 10 after 4. Okay, so now, I know now I'm rambling. You have about 15 minutes. Everyone choose an assignment. Whatever you don't finish can stay in your folder, and you'll go back to it tomorrow. If you choose to do it for homework, bring it home. Not the folder, just the work. Let's see how day 1 works. Remember, there's only 10 of the hard copy worksheets, so if you're going to do it with people nearby, share.